Hi there, and welcome to this walkthrough video for Samplologic's Arpology Cinematic Dimensions. In this video, I'll be looking at the various interface windows of cinematic dimensions and getting deep into the functionality of this instrument. If you haven't already, please watch the overview video for a quick roundup of cinematic dimensions, and just to hear the sounds and multis, do head to the multis in action video. Here I'm going to be looking at the nitty-gritty of cinematic dimensions, but not playing through many of the sounds and presets. In this video, it's going to be all about the browser, filters, dials, and parameters. There's a lot to get through, so let's dig in. When you first open the library, you'll see this main interface screen, where each multi-core preset is made up of 4 different elements. These are called cores, and each of these has a sound source, step animated effects, and dynamic effects. The center section is an XY pad for mixing between the 4 different cores. At the top, you can access the various browsers, and underneath that go to the 4 different panels which are used to program the sounds. These are core, step, mix, and master. And I'll run through those individually in a bit. So the signal flow is as follows, and I'll use just one core as an example here. Each source sound is chosen here in the core window by using the arrows or the browser. The sound from this passes through the step animator and dynamic effects sections in the step panel, and then it's passed to the mix panel for more processing. Then the audio from all 4 cores is summed together via the XY pad and passed to the master section, where up to 6 effects can be used. At each stage in this chain, there's the opportunity to either program parameters yourself or choose from the hundreds of preset combinations. Let's look at this in a bit more detail. If you're new to cinematic dimensions, then the main multi-core browser in the core window should be your first point of call. Click here to open it. From here, you can browse the presets by scrolling up and down. Or you can choose one or more tags and filter those presets. Click on the little heart next to the preset to favourite it, and these selections will be remembered even if you close and reopen cinematic dimensions. Previews of the 4 cores used by a preset can be seen just here. The 3 filter buttons here, source, step animator, and effects, can be used to load only the elements of a preset that you want. For example, if you like the arpeggio animation of a preset but want to change the sounds, use these filter options to load only new source sounds. So that's how to load a multi-instrument using all 4 cores, but it's also possible to load individual cores, source samples, and step animator presets from this window. The various buttons at the top take you to the relevant browsers and presets. You can also use the small blue buttons to activate and deactivate the various cores and step animators, or you can use the solo buttons to preview individual cores. So you can see that from just this one browser window, it's possible to access and change many elements of your sounds. Back to the main core panel now, and it's also worth pointing out that you can also get to the individual core presets and source browsers from here as well. Just click the names in each core. A few other controls with each core that are worth knowing. Press this button whilst you're holding MIDI notes to lock those notes that you're playing for that core. Hit the button again to unlock. Each of the cores has a defined playable range set by the sliders below the graphics. So you can set up your own playable keyboard regions for each core and play different arpeggios with each hand. If you want to reset a multi-core preset to default, just click here. And of course you can save your own creations too. The XY control at the centre here controls morphing between the 4 cores, either with presets, your own recorded movements, or live played externally via MIDI CC. Turn the XY pad on here and choose presets here. You can activate playback with the play button, which will begin the movement every time you play a new note. To record your own XY pad movements, hit the record button, play a key, and then move the XY node manually. Setup controls for the XY pad, including MIDI CC control assignment, can be found just here. Now the step panel. This is where your sound sources get transformed into rhythmic motifs with complex step sequencing and arpeggiation. There's a lot going on here, so I'll touch on the most useful aspects, but there's more information in the Cinematic Dimensions manual as well. Access the 4 different cores with these number buttons, or for an overview of all of the 4, just click here. From here you can see the most common parameters, change each step type, length, and velocity value. You can also adjust octave, total number of steps from 1 to 128, and the clock speed of the step animation. Use this control to move a whole row of values simultaneously. One of the most fun ways to play is just to load up step animation presets from this screen using these arrows or the browser. This is where step animations are categorized into chord progressions, gated chordal, experimental glitch, melodic, and monophonic. I'll solo just core 1 and go to that page so you can hear what's happening. Core pages like this have even more options for tweaking, including turning on stutter for all steps, freezing on a particular step, or restarting the sequence. Step animator play mode can be switched to play forwards, backwards, ping pong, or for a certain number of cycles. The copy and paste controls allow you to duplicate animations across the 4 cores with adjustable pasting parameters just here. There's many more different step controls, including arp type, transposition, duration, stutter value, and panning. So as you can see, lots of parameters to help make your own unique patterns. One more thing to mention, the MIDI drag and drop just here allows you to click the button and drag the step animation pattern into your DAW to use with your own instruments. Moving below the step animator, this is the dynamic effects section. This is similar in operation and includes 6 slots for over 20 swappable effects. Number of steps and clock speed can be changed just here, and for each step the effects can be switched on or off. There are many presets for individual effects and the rack as a whole. You can even automate some effect parameters by expanding the effect here and switching on the automation. In the case of the twang effect, the automation applies to the high frequency knob, but it's a different automation knob for each different effect. The mix panel next, and you can see the controls for the 4 cores laid out in the same format as the core window. Each core has its own controls for volume, panning, attack and release, high cut, resonance, and energy. There are several EQ presets for each core which can be dialed in here. You also have the option to route each core to its own output if you need to. The master panel sums the signals from the 4 cores and gives you 6 effect slots to play with, your choice from over 20 different effects. There are preset chains too, just here. Each effect has multiple controls, and the compressor even has its own range of presets. Let me finish up by walking through the flexible randomization options. Almost any of the various sounds and parameters I've talked about up to this point can be randomized using the menu just here. Choose the elements you want to randomize and click the random button. This feature really is inspirational, from helping to choose sound sources, to mixing up the step animators with a predefined scale type for transposition. You can even randomize the XY pattern and master effects. You can choose to randomize all 4 cores, or just choose particular ones. The random play button will choose new parameters each time a step animator loop cycles around, meaning that you'd never hear the same sequence twice. I've tried to cover most of the elements of Arpology cinematic dimensions here without taking up too much time, but there are things that I haven't looked at, like the latch control, the door/live toggle, and all of the various different types of arpeggios in the step animator. The manual is a goldmine of further information, and you can find that, along with more videos and audio demos, at samplelogic.com. Thanks so much for watching.